Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be testing my McLaren Senna in multiplayer in Asphalt 9 in the Burst of Speed 4th of July season. This is a continuation of the series where I go back and test cars again that I may have tried previously in a maxed free try season, but never after I actually got them myself. And now for the easiest race that I had all season. Yeah, I have no idea why this happens. I think it's when the other person leaves before the race actually starts, but still kinda weird. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and enjoy the video. So in this season, you can play in the Avia, the Carrera GT, the Genti Aculone, the Aperta, the Senna, and the Bugatti Chiron. And it just so happens that 3 of those 6 cars are ones that I didn't win in their special events, so I'm left with my 1-star Senna, my 2-star Aperta, and my 4-star Bugatti Chiron. I bet you know which one that I use most of the time in the season, but toward the beginning of the season, I gave the Aperta and the Senna a try, primarily because I wanted to see how they would do against the Chiron, and so I could make this video here. And in this first race, we are actually facing 2 Bugatti Chirons. Now make no mistake, the Chiron is a way better car than the Senna and the Aperta, but earlier on in the season, I was surprisingly able to get some wins with the Senna. And in this video is a compilation of the 8 best races, if you count the first one, that I had in this car in this season, to show that this car, and really any of the more agile cars, are going to be decent at least at 1 star most of the time. Take the Corvette for example. Obviously this car is much better at max. I do have a video up about that if you would like to check it out, but it did better than I expected in this season, and so that's what we'll see. In this first race we beat 2 Bugatti Chirons, and in this next race we are facing 2 more Chirons as well as 2 Apertas. Some people have asked me recently when I'm going to be streaming on my channel again, and I'm not going to be doing it this coming weekend because of an announcement that I'm going to be making hopefully tomorrow. So if everything goes to plan, keep an eye out tomorrow for a short but hopefully pretty exciting video. So I just got knocked out of the track there because that Bugatti Chiron rammed into me really hard. Now if he had been in Shockwave, I would have been knocked down instantly. I covered this issue with the new Knockdown system in a previous video, and Gameloft has said that they will not be changing anything about it in the current seasons, but that they are listening to feedback. I hope that's true because most people do not like it pretty much at all. I've come into second place with the first place guy having gone the longer way, allowing me to come into first, but just barely. This season was pretty scary when I was driving the Senna or even the Aperta, or anything besides the Chiron really, because the thing is, because it is slipstream, when you are just going along and you've got a Chiron behind you, or any faster car really, but especially the Chiron, they will most likely end up catching up to you really fast and passing you like a rocket if you are not careful. Thankfully in this race that didn't happen, and tons of people wrecked right at the very end of the race, like what happened with that one J50 video in my 77 cars video special thingy. Yeah, that end of the race there just gets a ton of people every single time. That's why I try to take the safe route and not worry about flat spinning weirdly and getting shoved up against the wall or wrecking. And now we have a race on New York against a few Chirons. I liked this track when it first came out, although I still haven't quite figured out how to get through it without bumping into things and losing a bunch of speed every so often. I know that is something that you have to learn on every new track, and so I'm sure that given enough time, I'll be able to learn it on this track as well. And from what I have seen, what I've said previously about this track seems to be pretty much the case, because it has such a variety of sections, like that long straight section back there, and then you've got these 90-degree turns in the middle of the city. And I'm glad I wasn't the one that got knocked down right there. And then we've got some wide sweeping curves, and there's just something for pretty much every car to do well on. And that's what I have noticed. Like the Chirons do well in this race, as you can see up there, but also some of the more agile cars do well as well. Now if I were being picky, I would say that I would have liked to have even more straight sections, because there still are quite a bit of twisty ones here. But it is better, definitely, for the top speed cars than either Osaka or the Caribbean, the other ones that we've got recently. One of the 2 Chirons ahead of me knocked down the other one back there, and because of that other one that got knocked down earlier in the race, I'm going to come in second place in a room full of Chirons on a new track that I tend to keep running into things on and bumping the sides and all sorts of stuff like that. But we do come in second still, and it's so annoying. After the end of the race, you can't see how much you've gone up when you are in the lower leagues like this. I really hope that they bring that back soon, because that just seems like a completely unnecessary thing to change. In this race, we are back on New York on the variant that was used in the first qualifying round for the Ford GT Mark II Grand Prix, which I've kind of gotten to know after playing that I don't know how many times at this point. And we're facing another Senna and an Aperta. This one, aside from that straighter section right there, seems to be pretty twisty a lot of the way through, especially through these sections right here, which are kind of almost jig-jaggy, if that makes sense. And then you've got this really high ramp to go up on around this corner that I didn't think was going to be faster at first, but apparently it is. And I was going to try to make it onto the way up top, like you usually do when you go up that ramp, but I realized I wasn't going to make it, and so I quickly decided, okay, I'm not going to risk falling off the track, I'll just go on to the lower route, which honestly I doubt is all that much slower. It doesn't really seem much shorter. At this place coming up here, where you can either go to the right or to the left, I think it's better to go to the left, because around this corner there is a barrel roll that you can go up to get your speed up better after the turn, whereas with the other way, you only have this one here, so I think that would save a little bit of time. But check out Stazaress or Isla's videos if you would like to see all of the best routes on this map, because they were able to find out some of them pretty much the day after it came out. This next race is against a couple of higher ranked Porsche Carrera GTs. That was one of the cars that I did not get in its special event. I believe that was the first one that gave packs for its car rather than just a bunch of blueprints for it. I remember when that car first came out, I was thinking it was going to dethrone the Huracan, at least in events, but it turns out that that's not really the case. While it is a little bit faster than the Huracan, its acceleration is 6 lower, 78 versus 84 at max, and that does not allow it to get up to its speed quickly enough or reliably enough in multiplayer to be able to be better than the Huracan. And speaking of the Huracan, that is one of the cars, along with the Pininfarina and Viper and other cars like that, that have really good nitro efficiency and handling and everything, that are just being spammed like crazy in multiplayer. And the reason for that, I believe, is because those cars, or cars in general, that have very long shockwave will almost always be better in multiplayer now, because shockwave almost instantly knocks down anything it touches. And if you're in shockwave, you're invincible to everything. So it is basically the shield of multiplayer. So it makes sense people are going to mainly gravitate toward cars with higher nitro efficiency, which does not do good things for the variety. Even in situations where you're in a fast car without shockwave and you ram into somebody with shockwave, you are more likely to get knocked down yourself, and most likely nothing will happen to him. Seems a little bit messed up to me. In that race, we beat those two Carreras. Now, this race here is quite possibly one of the most intense or closest races that I had during the season. We are against two other Sennas as well as two LaFerrari Apertas. And we are on Downtown Rise, which in my opinion has one of the most annoying starts for multiplayer in the game, because you have that section at the beginning there where everybody gets bunched up around the first turn, then those turns there, which this car can get around easily, but a lot of cars cannot get it around as easily as those do. Now, back what I was saying before about the Carrera GT being the first special event car to have packs instead of blueprints, while the Bailey does have a lot of blueprints, it does have certain packs for them too. So what I am suspecting is that the event will most likely not give enough blueprints in order to get the car, and we'll have to buy some of its packs, which unlock at 175 conditions, I think. But some people will probably end up with more in the event than others because of those few packs there. And here, this 4,000 rank Aperta lands on me with shockwave, knocking me down, but then he falls off the track. So this was my chance. I catch his shockwave and I pass him on that jump and come in first place. Bit of an instant karma for that Aperta that was 1,000 rank above us. Now, the final race in this video is also a very close and intense one. This one features every car in the season except for the Avia, which I hardly ever saw because that was the car that required a ton of gold max cars in order to get in its special event, and I just think not many people really care about it. It is one of the most forgotten special event cars in Asphalt 9, and it's not even that old. Now it is time for my general review about this car. So as many of you know, at max it has the highest handling stat in the game of 101 point something. It's the only one in the game above 100, which makes it very easy to drive, but it's sort of like the Corvette of Class S in the fact that it also has a very low top speed. one of the lowest in Class S. This prevents it from being much of any use in events, and it's mainly only going to be useful in multiplayer. But even at 1 star, as you can see in these races, it's not bad. So if you have this car at a low star, definitely test it out in multiplayer, I would say. You'll probably be surprised with how well it might actually do, because it still has good nitro efficiency and everything, even at 1 star. Not the best, of course, but not bad either. So we come up to the end of this race along with the Sheerans and manage to cross the finish line in 2nd somehow. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you have enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt and other games content. And I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye!